This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Teach me blindness, teach me faith, teach me everything to feel okay. But why I am so cute, it's getting out of control now. Baby, show them cute.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I think we have established that for quite some time now. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Wednesday, April the 29th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big.
Oh, yes, not to be confused with Big Radio. We are hanging out with Radio Big, that is for sure. So there you go, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we are hanging out. But let's start off with the important question. How are you? No. Hold on. How are you? Like, how have you been? How's life treating you? How are you looking at everything and going, yeah, this is a life worth living type of thing? I only ask these questions because I'm always curious on how people are seeing their lives at the moment. Because here's the funny part. I mean, and I'll tell you because I read all kinds of interesting stuff. You never know what's going on in someone's life, and just because their life in the real world seems to be one way does not mean in the digital world is the same, or vice versa. Because that's the weird thing now. You have the digital life, and you have the real life, and you never know what the hell's going on. I know.
Got deep.
Right away as we were talking, but don't worry about any of that stuff. Because we're here to talk. We're here to hang out. We're here to have fun. So let's talk about what the hell we do around here. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's what we do. That is what we do. So don't worry about that. I will bring you some main stories about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Mostly chosen by yours truly. That's kind of in the midpoint of the show. And then outside of that, we have some professional newscasters who'll come in and do all the other stuff. And then we go, man, what a time to be alive. Yeah, we talk about that. And then we kind of go through everything. And then you have the opportunity to call in if you want to do that by going to callinradio.com. And I'm going to tell you the truth. If you do the text messaging thing, that's kind of where I really kind of focus. Because if not, I lose my rhythm. So callinradio.com is the option. You go there. It's going to give you 3 prompts to do. You can either do a video call, audio call, or text messaging. Text messaging seems to be the gold standard there. That's for sure as we do our stuff. And then we kind of go through the whole thing. So if you're good to do this, I'm good to do this. I have my friends from Feature Story News kind of waiting that they want to talk about what the hell's going on, and we can kind of laugh about the collapse of different things, because that's just kind of what we do, and then kind of go from there. Mm-hmm. So, if you're good with this, I'm good with this, and we can go through the whole aspect ratio of the whole thing. So, let's go ahead and bring in our friends from Feature Story News and let them tell us about what the hell is going on with the news stories.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. King Charles will travel to New York on Wednesday for a memorial event remembering those who lost their lives in the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It comes after the British monarch urged President Trump to renew the bonds of friendship between the US and the UK. The King and Queen were guests of honour at a White House banquet.
We've stood together through the best and worst of times. However, the challenges we now face encourage us to reaffirm tonight the basis on which our partnership has been built.
In his speech, President Trump suggested King Charles agreed with him that Iran should not secure a nuclear weapon. Buckingham Palace has attempted to diffuse suggestions it was a political intervention about current strains between London and Washington on the Iran conflict. Earlier, Charles spoke about the importance of NATO and the value of European partners during a speech to Congress. Royal commentator Sarah Hewson says the trip has been a success so far.
He has absolutely wowed his host, President Trump. He's had a meeting out of his hands. He's had countless numbers of standing ovations when he addressed both houses of Congress yesterday. A hell of a lot of laughter as he made his second speech of the day in front of the state banquet. We are seeing the bromance in action. Bonhomie, wit, charisma, but also some firm messages delivered by the King.
US President Donald Trump is reportedly not satisfied with Iran's proposals to end the conflict and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The two sides remain deadlocked as they try to resolve the 2-month conflict. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Donald Trump posted on social media that Iran had been in touch. To tell the US president, he said that their leaders are in a state of collapse, and without providing evidence that they want the US to open the Hormuz Strait as soon as possible. Iranian negotiators, though, say they want the US naval blockade on its ports to end before any formal negotiations can restart. And so far, Tehran is not on board with the US demands over a wholesale end to its nuclear program and the handing over of its enriched uranium. Iran instead only wants to discuss those issues after the conflict has formally ended. I'm Nick Harper in Washington.
Incoming Hungarian Prime Minister Peter Magyar will visit Brussels on Wednesday for high-level talks with the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and the European Council President Antonio Costa. It's a show of goodwill from the EU leadership ahead of Magyar officially taking office next month after a landslide election victory over outgoing Prime Minister Viktor Orban's party earlier this month. EU leaders say they are looking forward to a more constructive Brussels-Budapest relationship after 16 years of Orban's obstructive policies. From bureaus worldwide, this is Feature Story News. Total Energy has reported a sharp rise in its adjusted net profit in the first quarter of this year, reaching $5.4 billion. It's a 41% jump on profits in the last 3 months of 2025. The French company becomes the latest oil major to show how the impact of higher crude prices due to the war have boosted incomes for hydrocarbon firms. On Tuesday, BP announced that its profits for the first 3 months of this year more than doubled. 2 Indian entities have been sanctioned by the US over their alleged role in supplying chemicals for fentanyl production. Washington cracked down on 23 entities for allegedly supporting the Sinaloa drug trafficking organization in Mexico, which the US has designated a foreign terrorist organization. Ishan Gurg tells us more from New Delhi.
2 Indian individuals, Satish Kumar Haresh Bhai Sataria and Yukta Kumar Ashish Kumar Modi, have been sanctioned by US Department of Treasury along with 2 companies, SR Chemicals and Agrat Chemicals. US officials say they shipped a chemical called Anbok-4 Piperidone to Mexico that could be used to make the opioid drug fentanyl. Officials say the chemicals were wrongly marked as safe and then shipped to Mexico as part of a sophisticated supply chain used for fentanyl production. Indian authorities had arrested the alleged perpetrators in March 2025. Washington has hailed its partnership with Indian law enforcement agencies as it continues its battle against an opioid epidemic in the country. Ishant Garg, New Delhi.
And now another look at the top stories. King Charles will travel to New York on Wednesday for a memorial event remembering those who lost their lives in the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It comes after President Trump suggested the British monarch agreed with him that Iran should not secure a nuclear weapon. And incoming Hungarian Prime Minister Peter Magyar will visit Brussels on Wednesday for high-level talks with European Union leaders. That's the latest feature story news. This is Ross Cullen reporting from Paris.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Embrace a daily boost of nature with Field of Greens. Discover the simple power of one scoop to elevate your well-being. Enjoy the flavor that appeals to you the most and let the blend of organic fruits and vegetables enhance your life. Experience the following benefits with Fields of Greens. Noticeable energy increase to power you throughout the day.
Improved quality of sleep.
Enhanced digestive comfort and a general uplift in your wellness. Field of Greens stands out with the selection of organically grown ingredients, each carefully picked for its benefits to your heart and overall health. We are confident that you'll appreciate the benefits of Field of Greens. If it doesn't meet your expectations, we offer a straightforward money-back guarantee. Jumpstart your health journey with a special offer, 15% off your first purchase plus complimentary expedited shipping. Just visit fieldofgreens.com and use the code SAFETYFM to redeem your discount. That's SAFETYFM at fieldofgreens.com. Experience nature's touch at fieldofgreens.com/SAFETYFM. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, spitballing and pitfalling, that is for sure what the hell we have going on around here. So 15 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's start getting into it right away, because that's kind of what we do. I mean, it's just really what it is. So, you know how we talk about the days that most people celebrate all the time here? Well, today's one of those weird ones. Today is National Zipper Day. Yeah, you heard me. It's the day that celebrates something that we often do not think about, just automatically take for granted. Unless you're in Something About Mary, then we can talk about something entirely different there. It was first in 1851 that the Elias Howe, the inventor of the sewing machine, received the patent for the automatic continuous closing closure. So there you go. So has the zipper been updated since then? I mean, being as we're celebrating a day for it, I'm just asking the question because I don't know. What do you think? Has there been any changes in the zipper industry as we are talking? Okay, so let's get into some serious biz right away, and then we'll get into some of the shenanigans shortly thereafter. So take a listen to this. James Comey. Yeah, James Comey. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted again, this time over an Instagram post featuring seashells arranged to spell 8647. The number some Trump allies have claimed is coded message used by critics of the president. The Justice Department under the President Trump revealed the case, saying that the post, which Comey captioned "cool shell formation" on the beach rock, referenced a phrase that Trump supporters argue getting rid of 47. Comey deleted the post the same day, saying that he didn't realize that the number carried any violent association. The Secret Service interviewed him shortly thereafter. This new indictment comes after Comey was previously charged last fall with making false statements to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding related to his 2020 Senate testimony. A judge dismissed the case earlier, ruling the prosecutors had been improperly appointed. According to the report, acting attorney general, formerly Trump's personal attorney, revived the Seashell investigation after Trump fired former AG Pam Bondi. Todd Blanche is considered a leading contender for the permanent attorney general nomination. The Justice Department held a press conference yesterday about this. Take a listen.
Bodily harm upon the President of the United States. Count 2, same day, May 15th, 2025, that the defendant, James Comey, knowingly and willfully transmitting in interstate commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President of the United States. Both of these counts carry a maximum term of imprisonment of 10 years. So I think it's fair to say that threatening the life of anybody is dangerous and potentially a crime. Threatening the life of the President of the United States will never be tolerated by the Department of Justice.
Okay, so let me make sure that I understand this, because I don't, and that's why I have to talk about it out loud. So 86ing someone automatically means killing them? Is that what we're saying here? Because I've heard in jobs before, 86 the person or get rid of the person, meaning like fire them or get them out of the office. I've never heard it as 86 as meaning kill somebody. So 86 meaning slang. Let's do this. So let's because I like to play around here sometimes, and I like to take a look around at what the hell is going on. Let's do this, because I think that this will be the better way of doing this. So if I look into the term 86, and if you're on the screener with me, you'll be able to see this. So let's go back to the live mode here. So here's what it says. This is according to AI, because we have to trust that in regards of everything. 86, the American slang term meaning to get rid of, discard, cancel, or refuse service to someone or something, primarily used at restaurant bars, indicated as an item is out of stock. Also means it eject a customer or generally dispose of an object. So I don't see anything there related to death. I'm just saying. So, interesting stuff. What do you think here? Like, what do you believe that the term 86 meant to kill someone? I'm just asking. I just want to have a better understanding because I had never heard it in that particular format before. Then again, I barely ever listen to any kind of news media whatsoever.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, the last portion was a lie. I listen to news media all the time because I'm constantly looking for news stories, but I had, all honesty, I'd never heard anybody before reference to 86 to kill someone. So this will definitely be something that they'll have to try to prove. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this. David Morans, a longtime senior advisor for Dr. Anthony Fauci, has been indicted on federal charges alleging he concealed and falsified information related to internal discussions about COVID-19's origins. The Justice Department announced the indictment yesterday, accusing David, 78, of using his personal email to communicate about non-public NIH matters, including exchanges with the EcoHealth Alliance president, Peter Daszak. Prosecutors say that Morans, or David, however you want to say it, discussed ways to make emails disappear to avoid the Freedom of Information Act scrutiny and work to shield outside collaborations from inquiries. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said the allegations represent an abuse of public trust during the pandemic, claiming that David and others attempted to suppress the alternative theories about COVID-19. FBI Director Kash Patel said that the case centers on intentionally bypassing transparency protocols. Morris faces charges including conspiracy against the United States, destruction of or falsification of records, and concealment or removal of federal records, carrying potential penalties of up to 28 years in prison. So there you go. So let me make sure that I understand this. We're saying for a moment here that this guy tried to hide some stuff in regards about what the hell was going on with COVID-19. And then all of a sudden, they're going to try to prosecute him to go to prison up to 28 years, and he's 78. Just trying to figure that out. Let's kind of do some simple math here, because I'm not very smart. So we're saying here that he's 78. So if I add 25 to that, that makes it 103. And then I have another 3 remaining. So that makes him 106. So you're going to prosecute a person, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, and I'm not saying you should, that will potentially be in jail until he's 106. So do you think he's going to live to 106? I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out this morning. I'm just having a hard time understanding some stuff. Let's keep it inside of the government here for a moment. FCC Commissioner Ana Gomez, the agency's lone Democrat, sharply criticized the FCC's decision to launch an early license renewal review on 8 ABC-owned stations. The review was ordered by the FCC chairman Brendan Carr and tied an investigation into Disney's diversity, equality, and inclusion policy. The move came shortly after President Trump and Melania Trump publicly called ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel over the recent joke that he made about the First Lady. Gomez called the FCC's action the most egregious First Amendment violation that she has seen from the agency, describing it as a political motivated attempt to silence critics. She argued that the timing shows the review as part of a broader campaign of censorship and said that it should serve as a warning of media companies that the capitalization will not protect them. Multiple free speech groups also condemned the FCC's move. Robert Corn Rivera of the Foundation Foundation of Equal Rights and Expression said that the early review amounted to viewpoint retaliation, adding that citing DEI policies appeared to be a pretext. Jane Fonda, speaking on behalf of the Committee for the First Amendment, called the action an attempt to weaponize government power against against dissent, compared to its patterns that had been in authoritarian regimes. So what do you think? I mean, it's interesting because if you kind of look back at this, we can kind of take a look at some of the weird stuff that happens from time to time. And I mean that in the best way possible. Because think about this for a moment. Do you remember Nipplegate? Yeah, Nipplegate. Let's just go back to this. You know, this was Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden he, meaning Justin Timberlake, ripped off part of her costume and exposed her nipple that was pierced. And all of a sudden the world was coming to an end. FCC was all over the place. Indecent acts. There was a case going on at the time with Bubba the Love Sponge because they had let's see, how did they say assassination, or how was the wording actually done? They had actually taken the life of a wild boar, and he didn't even do it. It was somebody else where he aired it, and then they cooked it in the same way that you would slaughter an animal. And then at the same time, too, around that timeline, you had Clear Channel Communication, before it was iHeartRadio, kicking off Howard Stern off of its radio stations because of indecency and all of this fun stuff. So are we getting back to that timeline where things kind of got weird because everybody wanted to be, as Howard Stern put it back in those days, crucified by the FCC, which he had released a little CD back in the day, probably shortly before that. But it's kind of interesting when you start taking a look around at some of these things. It's kind of like some of these patterns tend to repeat themselves. So what do you think? Do you think that this was just odd timing for this to occur, or was this kind of a planned event for this to move forward? I'm just asking the question because I want to have a better understanding of what exactly we're looking at. Because if we're using retaliation for some of these things, it gets weird. And if you look at the Comey thing, and if you look at the assistant to Fauci thing, and then you look at the FCC thing, timing is kind of shitty when it comes to the whole thing. And I'm just talking here because it gets weird. You dropped all three in one time. So it gets kind of strange. And listen, we're just talking here. I'm just trying to show you some stuff. It's amazing to me just the amount of stuff that can happen in such a short period of time. Like, I'm always amazed when I wake up and then get my ass over here to the studio and kind of go in here and start looking around and what the hell's going on. It's crazy the amount of stuff that can happen in the overnight. No doubt about that. So let's continue talking about some other stuff. Let's go into
Frisco, Texas.
A family had a terrifying Easter Sunday when a bobcat leapt into their backyard and snatched their small dog, all caught on video. The owner says that she was walking past the back door when she saw the dog lying on its back, and in the next instant she realized why. A bobcat had its jaws around its neck, and it was already dragging it towards the fence. The wildcat then jumped the fence with the dog still in its mouth, but dropped it on the other side and ran off. Miraculously, the dog survived and ended up with 3 deep neck wounds and another in the stomach, all requiring stitches, but vets expect a full recovery. Wildlife officials say that bobcats encounter spikes in springs and as they hunt more actively and roam closer to neighborhoods. Take a listen to this.
That bobcat was huge. The bobcat actually looked at me and it just took off with her. Her neck, everything was just messed up where the bobcat had bit into her neck.
Yeah, so there you go. Bobcats definitely don't want to hang around those things, that's for sure, as we are talking. What else do we got going on here? Let's talk about this one. A TikTok video from a KFC in
Compton,
California has gone viral after a customer filmed an employee sticking a long metal rod out of the drive-thru window and waving it over the ground. The clip posted by Moments Are Precious has racked up over 8 million views, with viewers wondering what on earth the worker was doing. Fast food employees quickly claimed that with the explanation, the rod is being used to trigger the drive-thru sensor buried under the concrete. That sensor normally detects when a car is present. It tracks how long each car order takes. Workers say that they often judge and sometimes discipline if their drive-through times run too long, even when delays are out of their control. By waving the metal object over the sensor, employees can trick the system into thinking that the car has already left, resetting the timer and protecting their performance metrics. Commenters noted that this isn't unusual. Workers at other chains said they use metal tools as well, circled the building in their own cars, or asked the customer to pull ahead, all to avoid being penalized by the strict timing systems. Now, I will tell you, I've been through drive-thrus before where they have told me, hey, can you pull up right over there and we'll bring the food out to you because of that. And yes, this goes back to that whole thing that we talk about on how we're so metric conscious about stuff that we tend to forget about the importance of some other things that are going on. So imagine that for just one brief moment. You're telling your end user, your customer, that they need to drive around because, hey, you don't want any kind of time delays to occur inside of your system. Duh. Just something to think about as we are talking. What else do we got around here? Let me do this one, and then we'll kind of get into something else real quick. A group of foil surfers off of Santa Barbara had a terrifying close encounter with a massive shark during a 20-mile downwind ride of the UCSB to Carpinteria. One of the surfers, Ron Takeda, suddenly found a shark surfacing right behind him, pacing his board and repeatedly speeding up, slowing down, and even appeared to graze the foil. Another surfer captured several minutes of the encounter on video, including the moment that he nervously told Takeda, "Don't fall in." The shark, clearly longer than its 6 foot or 7 foot board, stayed locked in behind him. After roughly 3 minutes of tailing the group, the shark finally peeled away. The surfer still had 10 miles left to paddle, and remarkably, they were back in the water the next day, unfazed. The species of shark couldn't be confirmed, but the size and behavior made the moment unforgettable. Takeda, calm under pressure, earned him a major respect because most people would have been in full panic mode with a shark that size tracking them in the open Pacific water, especially for 3 minutes. That sounds like not a good time. That is for sure. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and get into that main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so it's main story time, and today I need to talk about the absolute favorite type of parasite in the corporate matrix, and I'm not lying as I say this. We talk a lot about on the show about systems, the front line, the operators, and the management, but there is a third-party entity that floats around the safety industry that we need to drag into light, and I'm talking about the snake oil salesman. Yep, the snake oil salesman. You know exactly who I'm talking about. This is the big shot consultant, the safety guru that steps off the plane in their tailored suit, charging you $25,000 a day, acting like they are the God's gift to the industry of safety. Their LinkedIn profiles say that they are a thought leader and an industry disruptor. They tell you that they are the absolute best in the business and they have the cure for all systemic failures in one conveniently priced PowerPoint deck. But then you get them in the room and you realize the rated R truth. They aren't the savior. They aren't a genius. They are a massive, unadulterated asshole. Yep, that's what it boils down to. And let me set the scene for you, because if you're in this industry long enough, you have sat in this exact meeting. And let's go into the executive boardroom. You have the plant manager or the VP of operation or the CEO sitting at the head of the table, and in corporate terms, that is the king. You know, the king, the head of the table, whatever the hell you want to call them. What does the snake oil salesman sit? Right next to the king. They secure the seat because they want the proximity to power. But watch what they actually do when they have the king's ear. A true advisor, a true professional sits next to the king or the queen or the head of the table and speaks truth to power. They talk about data. They talk about systemic drift. They talk about the ugly reality on the floor. But does the snake oil salesman do that? No. They lean in and they start whispering poison. They start spreading high school level rumors about other consultants. They start bad-mouthing the internal safety personnel. Did you hear about Bob's program at the other plant? What a disaster. Did you see Sarah posted online? She clearly doesn't understand complex system. Why in the hell would an adult making massive consulting fees sit next to an ultimate decision maker and act like a mean girl in junior high cafeteria? Can someone please explain? If I tell you exactly why, it's a calculated distraction. And this is the reason. If you're sitting next to the head of the table, spreading rumors and slinging mud, you are creating a smokescreen. You want the king, the queen, or the head of the table so focused on supposed failures of everyone else's in the kingdom that they never stop to look at your massive shortcomings. It's an ego defense mechanism. If you don't actually have any original substance, you don't actually know how to fix the complex problems in front of you. Your only survival tactic is to convince the king, the queen, or the head of the table, or everyone else is an idiot. They assassinate the character of their peers so you won't look too closely at how hollow their resume is. But the grift doesn't just stop at gossip. Oh no, the snake oil salesman is a predator, and their favorite meal is someone else's intellectual property. These gurus go to conferences, they sit in the back of the room, they listen to the frontline safety managers and present an incredible, hard-fought, brilliant idea. They write it down. 2 weeks later, it's their new LinkedIn article. It's the new webinar. They take the credit from the blood, sweat, and tears of the working class and present it as their own spontaneous stroke of genius. But even stealing from their peers is enough for the ultimate safety grifter. They need the mythology. They need a brand. And this is where the grift reaches a level of absurdity that almost is impressive. They don't just create a new system. They go digging into archives. They find an old declassified military manual from the 1950s. Maybe something on aviation human factors or systemic reliability in nuclear submarines. Information that was paid for by the American taxpayer. Information that was actually crossed over 70-year mark and is completely 100% open source. Public domain IP. What does the safety savior do? They download the 1954 military manual and hit find and replace. They change the word soldier to worker, and then they slap the giant shiny trademark symbol on it, and they call it proprietary quantum safety matrix. They take something that belongs to history, something that's open to the public, and they put a fresh coat of corporate paint on it. And they claim that they've invented human error. They try to copyright the gravity. And then here is the most despicable part of the entire operation. Once a trademark is stolen, 70-year-old military concept, they weaponize it. And let's be realistic. Most of these people come to the realization that nobody is going to, look at some of these trademarks. They're not going to look at these copyrights that they're all of a sudden putting out there. So let's say to you, a normal safety professional, go online, write an article talking about the basic historical concepts. You talk about systems thinking or human performance that has been established for decades. Within 48 hours, you get a letter in the mail, which is a cease and desist letter from the snake oil salesman's lawyer, or maybe even the snake oil salesman themselves. It's absolutely mind-blowing. They stole the car, painted it red, and now they're trying to sue you for driving on the same highway. They weaponize the legal system to intimidate and silence genuine safety professionals who are just trying to share the signal. They use illegal threats to protect the crown that they stole from a military archive. How insecure do you have to be? How hollow does your soul have to be to send a cease and desist letter to a safety manager over a concept that was developed by the military before you were ever even born? This is the ultimate form of conduct detrimental to the team. They do not care about keeping the workers safe. They do not care about improving the system. They care about their ego, their speaking fee, and their fake trademark. So, what is the rated R truth today? Stop feeding the grifters. When a consultant walks into your facility acting like a savior, but spends their time bad-mouthing your internal team and bragging about the proprietary trademarks, show them the door. If they are sitting next to the king, the queen, or the head of the table whispering rumors, recognize it for what it is, the desperate distraction of an incompetent fraud. Safety is about the free, unrestricted kinetic flow of information. Anyone who tries to hoard safety concepts, trademark basic human performance, or sue their peers with cease and desist letters is not a leaser. They are a hazard. Do your own search. Seriously. Do your own research. Trust your front-line people. Don't let the fast-talking consultant with the fake trademark sell you a military manual from the 1954s for the price of a luxury car. Protect the signal. Kick the snake oil salesperson out of the boardroom and force the team to rely on actual substance. Seriously, keep your hand on the swivel. Watch out for the court jester trying to wear a crown, because I'm going to tell you, they can ruin everything for you if you're not paying close attention, and that is for sure.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at RadioBig.fm.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns, and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. It's all about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Okay. 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, doing all our fun stuff. So there you go. So a lot of things going on inside of the world of the multiverse. This right here, this is Case Motion. Song is called Cold. Song is readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. We would like to thank Case Motion for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Always a good time when we're allowed to do these things, and that's no doubt about it. So there you go. I would go ahead and recommend you give it a little streamer-eamer action. You know me, my favorite stuff is some techno. So there you go. Let's go ahead and get into the move of everything that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. So anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. Seriously, once you get there, there's so much information that can change your life. And you might go, well, this information is not exactly for me, but it could be for somebody else. And you could be kind of the source in regards to getting them the info. TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. So let me tell you about this one. Reality Shifts and Observational Symposium coming up on July the 13th, 2026 in Orlando. Yeah, Orlando, Florida, taking place is where exactly it's happening. What we're going to be doing in that particular day is we have decided to rent out a movie theater. And what will we be doing? Well, we're going to be doing some interesting stuff. We're going to be talking about the world of human and organizational performance. That will be headed out by Todd Conklin. And then we'll have Nick Weatherly talking about behavior-based safety. We will watch a documentary while we are there, because, of course, we're in a movie theater. Why would you not do that? And then I will cover some signal information as we are going through that. And we will hang out inside of a movie theater, which we have never done before. So definitely taking a different approach. And some people are going, well, why are you doing this on a Monday? Well, we would love for you to come down to Orlando. Would love for you to come down to Orlando. You come in, you hang out, you do some stuff, you see the world, you do it on a weekend. And then on Monday, you get to do this. Would love to see you there. All you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm. The letter I, the letter O. That will get you there. Or you can go to safetyfm.com and click on live events, or you can just scan the QR code that's right there on the screen. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on in that particular day inside of that particular event. We would love to see you there. It will definitely be something different than what we've ever done before. And I think that's what kind of makes it the interesting part when it's all said and done. So safetyfm.io to find out some more information if you would like to. So anyways, with that being said, I do have some John Smalls waiting in the wing where he would like to talk to you about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute. So if you're good with that, I'm good with that. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Tim. Steve Jobs said, "You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life." My wife and I have very much been a fan of the same kind of thinking. There have been some times where we've made a decision to steer clear of something. It looked really good, sometimes even too good to be true, but something didn't feel right. Then that something became very apparent, and we look back very gratefully that we did not jump into that mess. Oh, don't get me wrong, I've stepped in many a mess. One was a huge mess. It resulted in a 3.5-year legal battle, a 4-day jury trial, and it took the jury about 2 minutes to find in our favor. I'll also admit that my wife wanted to avoid that mess as well, but I told her, hey, it's going to be fine. Well, I was wrong.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A major Midwest storm outbreak on Monday left dozens of families in the path of tornadoes and damaging winds, with officials warning that more severe weather could arrive before the work week ends.
The National Weather Service has posted multiple tornado watches and severe thunderstorm warnings across several states, urging people to stay indoors and avoid travel in the hardest-hit corridors. Power outages have jumped into the tens of thousands. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The man accused of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner has been formally charged with attempted assassination, facing a potential life sentence if convicted on the top count alone.
Federal prosecutors say the suspect, Cole Thomas Allen, planned the attack for weeks and brought multiple weapons into the event, where he opened fire before being subdued by security officers. Trump was rushed off stage uninjured and returned within minutes. Lawrence Keller reporting.
The Trump administration has announced it will lift the mining ban near Minnesota's Boundary Waters wilderness, clearing the way for a large Chilean company to resume exploration for copper and nickel in a region long cherished by environmentalists.
The move overturns a years-old federal rule that blocked mining leases in the area to protect the nearly million-acre water-rich landscape from pollution and runoff. Industry groups say the project will create hundreds of jobs and help secure critical metals for electric vehicles. Kyle Norris reporting.
Two former Israeli prime ministers are teaming up to challenge Benjamin Netanyahu by forming a new political alliance that aims to unite a fractured opposition before the next election.
Right-wing Naftali Bennett and centrist Yair Lapid announced their merger on Sunday, saying they want to replace Netanyahu's coalition and shift the country's domestic agenda while largely keeping tough security policies on Iran and Gaza. Opinion polls show the duo could gather enough seats to threaten Netanyahu's grip on power. Benjamin Wright, reporting.
Islamic State has claimed a deadly attack on a football pitch in Nigeria, where gunmen shot into a crowd of villagers and triggered new demands for better security in the country's north.
Local officials say at least 24 people were killed when militants opened fire on a Sunday evening gathering, leaving dozens more wounded and many families homeless. Nigerian authorities have launched fresh raids and checkpoints in the region, while humanitarian groups warn that communities are still terrified of more surprise raids. Gary Beck reporting.
Iran's foreign minister is urging global powers to back a new peace plan in Moscow that could reshape the Middle East and end the war that has already killed thousands of civilians.
Tehran's top diplomat met Vladimir Putin in Russia on Monday, pushing for a deal that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz and pause bombardments in exchange for temporary delays on nuclear talks. The United States has signaled cautious interest, while Israel and Gulf allies remain wary of any arrangement that does not fully dismantle Iran's weapons program. Chris Anderson reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
More hits to help you work. Because to get rich, you gotta work hard.
Yeah, dude, look, I just made so much money that I could just sit around on my ass all day and play video games.
Wait, I forgot about Dogecoin.
Dogecoin rules!
Radio is
Oh, yes, Deutsche Cone rules is what it sounds like, no doubt about that. So let's start talking right away about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1862, New Orleans falls to the Union forces during the Civil War. In 1940, the first radio broadcast of Young Dr. Malone on CBS. What else happens? In 1945, Adolf Hitler marries Eva Braun. What else? 1967, Aretha Franklin releases Respect. In 1988, Burt Reynolds marries Lonnie Anderson. And 1992, Sheena Easton collapses on stage while performing A Man on La Mancha. Let's see. In 1995, final TV broadcast of Empty Nest on NBC. In 2022, London court sentences retired tennis star Boris Becker to 2.5 years in prison for hiding assets during bankruptcy proceedings. So there you go. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays that are going on today, because that's always a thing. Tommy James turned 79. Jerry Seinfeld turned 72. Daniel Day-Lewis turned 69. Michelle Pfeiffer turned 68. Eve Plum turned 68 as well. Carney Wilson turns 58. Andre Agassi, the tennis player, turns 56 today. And Uma Thurman turns 56 as well. So there you go. There's some birthdays that are going on. Also, let's talk about some things you ought to know, because we need to always talk about those things. Average U.S. gas price have surged to about $4.18, the highest since the Iran war began, as stalled negotiations over the reopening of the Strait keep global energy markets on edge. Gasoline prices climbed to $4.18, matching levels not seen since 2022. AAA data shows that it marks roughly a 40% jump since the conflict began in late February, driven largely by Iran's closure of the Strait, a choke point for normally carries about 20% of the worldwide oil supplies. Also, the Phillies made a major shakeup after a brutal 9-19 start, firing manager Rob Thompson and handing the reins over to Don Mattingly for the rest of the 2026 season. Don, who had been serving as the team's bench coach, steps into his interim manager. He brings a long resume. He managed the Dodgers from 2011 to 2015, managed the Marlins from 2016 to 2022, and spent the last 3 seasons as the Blue Jays bench coach, coming close to the first World Series title in 2025. To commemorate America's 250th anniversary this summer, Americans can receive a limited edition U.S. passport with President Trump's portrait on it. So there you go. And then what else? Tonight's Powerball jackpot is for $143 million. And here's last night's winning Mega Million numbers. If you're interested, it was 14, 36, 41, 47, 67, and the Mega Ball was 15. So there you go. Some things to think about. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to RadioBig.fm for the next couple hours or so, talking about the world of music and entertainment. If you don't want to go over there and you want to hang out here, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. If I can give you some words of wisdom today, if you chase perfection, you will miss progress, and progress is what actually changes your life. So there you go. And if you need some words of advice for today, if your kitchen smells after cooking, simmer a pot of water with lemon slices and a teaspoon of vanilla. It neutralizes the odor faster than candles or spray and leaves your home smelling like a bakery mitts at a spa. So there you go. It's some things to think about. And if I can give you some weird facts, in Japan, farmers grow square watermelons, not for eating, but for stacking. They grow inside glass boxes so that they can take shape of the container, making them easier to ship to stores, but nearly impossible to actually slice or enjoy. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.